At first I did want to review the new Blood Orange album, but you know what? I want to review something that's actually a little bit interesting. So we're gonna do the Avalanches' new record, Wildflower! The Avalanches in 2000 released an incredible album called Since I Left You. It is an amazing installment in the genre of instrumental hip-hop. There's a huge number of samples this album uses. I'll put the number on screen right now. That is how many samples this album uses, and it's incredible. It makes something very cinematic, very magical, colourful. But this was released in 2000. Not only that, but it was their only record at the time. So, it took them 16 years for fans to finally be stoked about the release of a new Avalanches album coming out. And this is the result, Wildflower. After hearing the full thing now, I'm actually not really disappointed at all, which is great. Whilst I personally wouldn't say I prefer it over Since I Left You, for reasons I will get to later on in the review, this is still an incredibly colourful record. There's so many different sound effects and noises and different scenes, different ambiences. It's like some of these songs are set in a town square or a crowded street. You can hear that sort of ambience kind of just lulling around in the background while the song plays. Like you're outside in like a street festival and you're hearing the song on the radio, and I really like that touch. I think it adds a lot to this record when that is pulled out. Sometimes this doesn't quite work, like on the track Going Home, which just drove me absolutely crazy. And I really liked how the song sounded. It's just, it kept going between low quality and high quality and then just fading between those two. And it just, you know, it just drove me insane because it just didn't sound good. Also, I did notice there's quite a bit of filler on this album. There's loads of interlude tracks. Not all of them are bad. Some of them I actually really do like Zap. But sometimes I do find myself confused with the fact that the album kicks off with a 17-second clip, The Leaves Are Falling, which is literally just 17 seconds of street noise. It didn't like ruin the record or anything. I just didn't think it needed to be there at all. But the tracks that are meaty, full of different samples, sound effects, those are the stuff that really made me love this album front to end. The track Because I'm Me. This is like a great throwback to Since I Left You. It's got the same kind of sound, same kind of feel coming through it. It's very nostalgic with the old R&B pop sample that's used in there. I'm not an expert, I don't know what the sample is, but it's very old school, vintage, lo-fi at the beginning, and then kicks into a much more clear, grand, trumpet-filled fiesta. And then the album kicks into Frankie Sinatra. This track left a lot of fans kind of on the fence. Personally, I loved it. I thought it was so good. Like the brassy, tuba-based calypso polka sort of instrumentation. It's very jumpy, it's fun, it's like electro swing. Then you've got some rapped verses from two very special, admired by me, vocalists who are Danny Brown and woohoo! MF Doom. Danny Brown just sets off with some killer verses, super catchy with the flow, as well as just some really ridiculous, fun, over-the-top verses about drugs, and like, oh no, I swear, Mr. Officer, I only had a bit of marijuana and some vodka. It's kind of hilarious in a way. MF Doom, who, I mean, I've loved MF Doom. I love his rapping and writing style. Living off borrowed time, the clock tick faster. Keep an eye out like I Cap'n. ICE cold. But I feel his verse here isn't really one of his best. It's really bloody short. He's only in the song for maybe a couple of lines, and that's it. He's on his way. I just kind of wish I'd heard more from MF Doom, because it's like he didn't really need to be in this song at all. But then you've got songs like Subway, which has got this very groovy disco feel. Unfortunately, it does later on kick into the song Going Home, which I did criticize previously. But then it kicks into If I Was a Folkstar. Love the track. I love the little chirpy. Super simple. It's super catchy. Then you've got the track Colours, one of the most creative uses of reversed vocals since Radiohead's Like Spinning Plates. Then you've got the song The Noisy Eater. Oh, probably my favourite track on the whole thing. It was hilarious to see Biz Markie, the same guy who did that Just a Friend song. He is rapping about being hungry. It's like a kindergarten children's song, but kind of this magical, surreal, LSD-infused hip-hop song. You've got a sample of children singing Come Together by the Beatles, some fluttery woodwind instruments, some flutes. No, that's it. No. Noisy Eater. That's it. No, nothing else. Nothing else needs to be said. That's just what other highlights were there? Oh yeah, the last two tracks, especially that final track with Father John Misty. I feel it's a really beautiful end to the album. And of course the album's got so many other tracks that I could have easily mentioned, but I mean, I don't want to ramble on for too long. Perhaps I don't think it's as great as Since I Left You, but I bet I will still be listening to this album for the rest of the year because it is just a wild ride, a Wildflower wild ride. I'm going to give this album an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Thank you Avalanches for pulling through with this beautiful record. That's it. I'm Ricky Lai and I promote an end to this review.